Hi boys and girls. Okay, today we're going to be creating different values of a color, and we're going to use those to make an ice cream cone next week after we get those painted. So this is our goal, is to get to these ice cream cones, and the direction we're going to go to get there is to paint. Hopefully we can create, well, you're going to have your pure color. I'll just start this one. You're going to have your pure color, which is your hue. And we're going to try to lighten it all the way down to a very, very pale version. If yours are not in order, like this one has dark, dark, super light, and medium light. These two are kind of flipped. It doesn't matter. Obviously, it would be nice to have them all go from darkest down to lightest. But if that doesn't happen for you, that's okay, because we're going to cut these out and you can rearrange them. So I can take and rearrange these once I get them cut out into whatever I think looks like darkest to lightest, or lightest to darkest, depending on which way you want to set yours up. Okay. All right. So I am going to be demonstrating with the color brown. So I'm going to make some chocolate ice cream. You will be given a piece of paper like this, and I want you to fold it in half twice. So you fold it in half like this, and then fold it in half again. Okay, crease those, because those lines, those fold lines, are what's going to show us where to stop painting. Okay, so now I have these fold lines. I know I'm going to paint my pure color on the top, and then I'm going to try to get progressively lighter as I go back. So you're going to need a messy mat for this, because we are going to paint all the way to the edges of our paper. And we're going to start with our pure color. I'm going to put both my pure color and my white out here so I have them both. Okay, so starting at the top, I'm just going to paint this whole thing chocolatey brown, because I know that's going to be my darkest value. And if you don't feel like yours is very dark because the paint's kind of thin, I noticed with some of the paints that you could almost see through it. You could always let this dry and put another layer over it, so I might do that later. Okay, so there's my top color. Now, my brush is loaded up with paint still. I'm going to mix this in with some white. I don't want to use all my white though, because I have so much paint in there. So I'm just going to take some of my white and I'm going to stir this in. Wow, that's a really light color brown. I'm going to put that on the opposite end here. That looks like the lightest color I could possibly get. Hopefully that'll work for you. Sometimes if your brush has a lot in it, you'll end up putting this color either here or here, but it doesn't for me. So I'm going to take a scoop of brown and I'm going to mix it in, because I need to make a little bit darker value. Okay, and that's going to be this one. Now that one's pretty close. I might take one more scoop. I might make it just a little bit darker. And you can mix over here too. You can take this and just go right onto your paper and add a little bit of brown to it here. However, I don't want to get too brown, so if you're doing that, you need to be really sure you got the right amount. If I put too much and they look the same, there's no way to go back from that other than maybe put a little white on it. All right, so now I'm going to take a bigger scoop, stir it in. This time I know I want it to be darker, maybe 2 scoops. I want to be sure I have some white in it though, or it'll look just like that, right? So I've got white in it. That still looks, these two look very similar to me, so I'm going to even add a little bit more. I'm going to add more right here on my paper. Now, do you see what happened? That brown almost looks as dark as my dark brown. Not quite, but almost. So I have to be careful, don't I? I'm going to add a little bit to right here. And then the last step, if you want your darkest value to be darker, you'll have to rinse the white out of your brush, and you can use up that extra dark to go on your dark color. If you need your lightest one to be lighter, because some people end up with this one looking almost the same as that one. If you need it to be lighter, then again, wash this out and use some of that white and just paint white over your color to lighten it. Okay, we'll use this one. So if I want to make this darker, just putting another layer of my dark color over it. I'm going to move this over here so I don't get it on there. Do you see how it's getting darker? Yeah, it's a little see-through when you first put it on there. Some of the colors, not all of them, but some of them are. I think that looks better to make it even darker. Okay, and then when you have this finished, this goes on the drying rack, and hopefully you put your name and class code on the back before you started painting. You don't want to paint this and then remember, oh dear, I didn't put my name on the back, because it's hard to put your name on it after you've painted it. So be sure that your first thing you do is put your name and class code on your paper, and then when you're finished, it goes on the drying rack. And you'll want to put your brushes in the sink if it's cleanup time, or if it isn't cleanup time, go ahead and take the time to wash your brushes out. And remember, once they're clean, they go bristles up. Don't stick them down into the can or the container. Always put them bristles up so they don't have a bad hair day.